Hey everybody, it's a Mad Master. This is my third video today, and this one is going to be about 5 predictions about what will happen with COVID-19. Now, I'm not a psychic, and this video does not contain any medical advice nor psychological advice or anything like that. And I am not a astrologer or a, fortune teller. I got the thumbnail designed by this guy, and because I thought of the title of the video, and I was telling him what I wanted. It was like, I just thought it was hilarious. He's like, "Oh, I love this design. You should use this." It was like, okay, I'll use that design. He gave me 2 designs. It was pretty good. Check him out. I'm just gonna fucking. He's called Raka Design on RAKA Design on Fiverr.com. By the way, very good, very highly recommended for YouTube thumbnails. So, anyways, and he's done some of my bigger videos as far as like the fall of Manowar and stuff like that. I've designed the last one, one of the last ones I did, the Fauci Unmasked one. That was me because I took that picture and I put this thing on it and stuff. Anyways, I digress. 5 predictions. So this is what's going to happen, I believe, and I'm gonna give it about a 6 to 8 month time frame. And I'm still trying to quantify everything because there is some stuff that contradicts what I'm about to say coming out that I've read, but I'm not sure what I think about it yet. For one, so let's look at New York and let's look at Italy. So we haven't had, at least at the filming of this video, we haven't had a huge spike in cases back, again in New York, or as far as I know, Italy. I think Spain had a little bit of a resurgence, but I'm not sure about Italy. I'd have to look that up. So this is what I believe. So they're finding out that for herd immunity to take place because of how many people are immune because of T cells and stuff, this is coming out the last couple weeks. Now, I'm just going to preface this by saying that some of the people that I've watched were saying this like 2-3 months ago, some of this kind of stuff. Well, what did the media say? Oh, there's no substantial. They're not right. Twitter, people would attack them on Twitter as downplaying the virus and all this shit. Of course, at Stanford, we have already gone through that in my last video. But people were saying this stuff, and I think the more they say, we think about this, it's probably true, or we look at stuff. So up to 80% of people may not get the bad symptoms or even get the virus, asymptomatic to low symptomatic. Let's just say low symptomatic. So with that in mind, I think what's going to happen in these hotspots is there's going to be some spikes. I'm going to give this about 2 months. Let's just say 2 months plus, maybe a little bit more than 2 months. I don't know where this is coming from. I'm channeling the spirits of whatever. The spirits of the spiked ball. Anyways, the spike, you get it, right? So I think those places will spike in the next month, and then the deaths, they're going to go up and then kind of level off, and then they're going to, I think all the hot spots are going to go down. And I predict by maybe late September, early October, we're going to see significant levels go down. So they were talking about how in Texas the cases have gone down already. Oh, it's because people are observing this stuff. Bullshit. My mom lives in fucking Texas, okay? She doesn't sees people without masks still. And oh, the cases are going down because of that. How the fuck do you know that? They only implemented this stuff like a week ago. These media articles saying that it's because they're following the mandates. No, it's because this is just how this shit works, probably. We don't know how, I don't know, but I think there's more than one reason other than mandates. That's all I'm saying. So we're going to see cases go down finally in these hot spots, California, Arizona, and Texas right now. And eventually, I'd say within 2 months, things will go down, early July levels, and maybe even lower than that. I would say we'll start seeing deaths in I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing deaths like 200 a day, something like that, or even less. It's going to go down really. And I could be very well wrong by what I'm saying here, but I think just looking at what happened to these hotspots before, and they went through that spell of bad shit, and looking at some of these studies that are coming out about asymptomatics or T cell immunity and herd immunity. Quote, I'm using quotes because T cell immunity is not the same as herd immunity, but it's kind of a default herd immunity. I was on Francis Balou, I think that's how to pronounce his name, Francois Balou's Twitter. Talks about all this stuff. I highly recommend it. And I was kind of guessing, like, I responded back to one, isn't that, so that's like default herd immunity. And a bunch of people liked my comment and like said, yeah, that's basically what it is, with the T cell immunity. This is like 2 or 3 weeks ago before this shit kind of got more mainstream coverage. And like I said in my last video, or a few of my last videos, you'll see these doctors that make these proclamations and then they'll get shamed a little bit or shunned. And I heard even MedCram got a video removed at one point, and I'm not sure if that's a rumor or not, but like, just like you see some of these people talking about some of these things and like they get shamed, like Stanford, and then months later or weeks later, people are like, oh wait, what about this? Well, a few weeks ago, you were fucking attacking this person as a grandma killing doctor for fucking saying that there's, whatever, T cell immunity or vitamin D or whatever the fuck. Oh, all of a sudden they're right. But I've been watching this shit for months and people are fucking being proven right. So in a summation, what I'm trying to say about this is that the fact of the matter is I think deaths are going to go down, way down after this peak, these next peaks. And then that's my first prediction. I think within 2 months, September, by October, we'll have like, I'm going to be a little bit bold and say, just because of how fast shit is going and all this stuff, I think 50 to 300 a day. That's my range of deaths. And that's pretty fucking low if you think about it. That's my prediction. I know it's bold. I know it's pretty high. Like, well, it's low, but it's, it's high. Because, we've been having like 1,000, we've been going back into the thousands. But I think 250, 300 at the most a day. That's number one. So that's the first prediction. Number two, we're going to have lawsuits up the ass all over the place with regards to civil liberties, masks, all this stuff. And we're already seeing that, even in Wisconsin here. There's people suing the government, in Madison and, Milwaukee and about these mandates and stuff. And, one example that one guy that's suing, and I think he's suing some of the city officials and stuff, and some of the health directors. One guy is like I think he's a Iraq war veteran who actually marched in Black Lives Matter protests and even like shared water with some of the people. See, that's one of the things that we don't talk about with the protests and how the spread of the virus may have occurred with that. Is that people smoke joints and fucking drink water. They probably fuck sometimes during these protests. It's not like we're just wearing masks 6 feet apart. Black Lives Matter. No, that's not how it goes. That's just not how protests. That's not how humans fucking operate. Sorry. So he was talking about that and the hypocrisy of some of these Democratic governors and mayors, to be honest. I don't consider myself a Democrat or Republican. So, I think Republicans are just, it's fucked up. But in some of these situations, they've kind of switched sides. Like with 9/11, it was mainly the left that was talking about the civil liberties and all that. Now it's the right, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever you fall upon with that. So, yeah, I think we'll see a lot more lawsuits, and I think we'll see some victories and some losses. People won't have to wear masks in some places, and some other places they'll say it doesn't matter, the public health warrants this and stuff, and there'll be challenges. And I think some areas they're on shaky constitutional ground. I know Six Hexenhammer. Okay, I just admitted a couple of videos ago where I didn't want to admit I watched, but I do. Six Hexenhammer was talking about how that he thinks that's going to happen, and there'll be some victories because it's on shaky constitutional ground. Some of these mandates. I'm not saying all of them, but like for example, the household one. That's Fourth Amendment. It's like Fourth Amendment kind of stuff. Like First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, whatever. I know the churches. There was some lawsuit with getting the churches reopened in Wisconsin in some areas, and now they're able to reopen. They reopen the churches. So there some of because I think there was a lawsuit, and I can't remember all the details about all these lawsuits and stuff. So there's going to be a shit ton of lawsuits and a lot of debate in the next 6 to 8 or 3 to 8 months, 3 to 6 months. Sorry, because I see this timeline as fixed in a certain way, and I'll go more into that in a little bit. But we'll see a lot more, lawsuits and battles over the mask mandates and battles over bars reopening, including in Wisconsin and Madison. It's gonna, and it's and a side note on that, I think some of these bar owners and some of these business owners who are very left wing, are gonna just be like, I can't, and some of them are not gonna, or some of them will quit. They'll sell their business or close their business or whatever. But some of them are gonna join some of the right wing about some of this stuff, because they'll look at case totals, like here in Dane County, for example. They'll look at case totals and death totals and be like, it just doesn't add up. Why can't I reopen? Blah, blah, blah. They'll join some of these lawsuits. And I don't think the mayor of Madison is going to get recalled, but I think there will be a lot more people joining the chorus, the growing chorus of dissatisfaction with regards to what's happening. And then, we got to look at these things from a rational point of view. Ostensibly, I support a lot of the goals of Black Lives Matter and some of these protests, but the hypocrisy of these establishment Democrat politicians, especially ones that are more on the neoliberal establishment end, they're supporting all these, either trying to save face with their constituents by supporting all these causes and going marching with them. They look like fucking total idiots, because regardless of what we know now about outdoor transmission, months back they were saying, if you will go outside, stay at home, don't, no, go protest. For a person that doesn't look at the nuance or read the article or whatever, it doesn't even matter. They're not dumb people that are fucking thinking that's hypocritical. More people are going to look at that and think, what the fuck are you telling me? This mixed messages, Am I supposed to stay inside and not be 6 feet apart from people, or am I supposed to go outside and protest? Which one is it? It's a whataboutism, but it's fucking pretty relevant. So that's going to happen. That's my second prediction. So lawsuits up the ass. There's going to be so many lawsuits, and it's going to become increasingly clear after we're going to have to go through a lot of shit. Like I said in the first part, number one, prediction number one, it'll go up. That's pretty much what it is. Go up, and then it'll go down again pretty low. It'll go up, not quite at New York levels, but it's going to continue to go for a while. So like a month and a half, and then it'll start dissipating again. It'll go down to probably 50 to 200 deaths a day, September, October. That's just what I see. I don't know, but this is just my prediction based on looking at these hot spots and how many treatments are coming out and all that stuff. So it's a guess, but yeah, that's what I think. So what's the third prediction? Third prediction is going to be very controversial, but I think it's pretty relevant. I think we're going to be over this pretty fucking quick, relatively. I've looked at pandemics. I think the longest one was the Black Death, but that's because they didn't know shit about medical science back in the 10th or 13th century or whatever. It's very different time now, and it was very spread out, a lot of the stuff with Black Death and the plague. That was the longest pandemic, but most pandemics, 20th century, 21st century, year and a half at the most. This has been going on probably since about October, November of 2019, if you believe, some of these recent studies are coming out from Italy with the sewage and stuff. Not the Spanish one that said March of 2019. I don't believe that. I don't know. I read there is credible evidence of the Italy claim about October. And then some of these supposed flu cases in subsequent months, and some of these deaths even probably were maybe related to COVID-19. But I'm not, of course, I'm not sure completely, but there is some evidence of that. And time will tell. We'll figure that out in the next couple of years. But so my whole point is a pandemic lasts a year and a half. I see like mid to late December as in this is just like winding down to a huge extent. And I know this sounds really crazy, but there's been some astrologers that have said this too. But like I was even thinking about this before, because it's like you look at the timelines of pandemics, and it just doesn't seem like they go more than a year or maybe 2 years at the most. But this thing is going super fast. So I think by December, I don't know if the country's going to reopen right away as much as we were before the pandemic, but I think it's going to be pretty well handled. And there will be vaccines probably available too, to some, these rushed vaccines, which people are not going to take, a lot of people, but that's their choice. If you're scared, if you're scared of it, take the fucking vaccine. That's your choice. I don't think it should be forced or mandated in any way, whether it be your company that you work for or whatever. So, and they, like I said, only up to 20% of people. If 80% of people are asymptomatic or whatever they said, if 20% of people get vaccines, then we've achieved herd immunity, according to some of these studies. And some of these people, like on the Unheard channel, watch that channel by all means. So I think December is the month that I see. And then going into like spring of 2021, we're just really going to it's just like, okay, this is over. It's like, it's not going to be right away, but like, I think, and it just seems like zeitgeist is pointing towards this. Regardless of who you watch or talk to, they just have this in their mental image for some reason. And it's collective unconscious, whatever you want to fucking believe, some new age shit, fine. Because I sort of believe in some of that stuff. So I think December through March, the real end of the pandemic. That's my prediction. So that was number 3. Okay. So what's number 4 as far as my 5 predictions? Well, I'm trying to think of what I would put. I didn't write this one out, but that's fine. I think people are going to stop trusting the media and the medical establishment after this whole thing, because not because the medical establishment is wrong or conspiratorial, but I mean, it's going to grow the dissatisfaction with politicians, experts, quote unquote, because it's just been so fucking unpredictable and weird that we don't know who to believe. There's been people using it for their own gain. I'm increasingly starting to think that a lot of the Democratic politicians that are pushing these lockdowns they care about the public health, but don't really care about the public health on the same level as, justifying the lockdowns would be. And people's distrust are going to increase. It's going to increase. I'm sorry to say, and that's unfortunate in some ways, but it's fortunate in other ways. Always have a healthy skepticism, but there's a logical and rational way of doing that, and there's an irrational way. Like with vaccines, if you don't take a vaccine for fucking measles and you send your kid to school, with a bunch of unvaccinated people, they might get measles, But if we're talking about skepticism about a rush vaccine, I'm totally on board with that. So skepticism will increase. Like I said in my previous, not previous video, but previous part of this video, I think people's skepticism about like lockdowns on the left will increase, and they'll start, there'll be increasing people on the left, quote unquote, that'll be skeptical about a lot of the stuff that's going on with regards to all this. There'll be more conspiracy stuff, because this is why. So, and I keep pointing this out, but this is true. 9/11 happened. Everybody but a few people were on board with what was going on. Very few people. It's like, United stand together as one against Osama bin Laden. But you had these conspiracy theories. Some of them are crazy, and some of them are outlandish, like the fucking lasers from the moon or whatever that hit the towers. I think Penn and Teller talked about that book. It's to straw man people that have legitimate concerns about American foreign policy and, collusion with the Saudi government or U.S. government or intelligence apparatus. Straw manning them and making them seem crazy because, well, you're just like these people that talk about the lasers from the moon. But there will be increasing COVID skeptics among the left. There will be. It doesn't mean skeptics about the virus itself or that it doesn't exist or 5G or whatever the fuck. It just means people will be questioning some of the motives of some of the people in charge. And I don't even mean Fauci. I just mean like some of the governors, some of the politicians, some of the pontificators, some of the government, and some people, think there's a cover up about this or that, and that'll happen, So I guess it can count as number 4 in predictions. I think the left will not be as in line in the next few months. I think there will be more people that are skeptical about what's going on. No, I guess that was number 4. Number 3 was people do not trust the media or government as much anymore because of all the unpredictability and hypocrisy and contradictions that are going on. Whether it be evolving science, and that you can explain that for a lot of this stuff. We didn't know that surfaces didn't transmit as well as once thought, even though I still know someone that quarantines their groceries and fucking, whatever. Anyways. But, so anyways, so that's number 4, or number 3. And then number 4 is that I think more of the left will be skeptical about certain things, actions that are taken, or, like I said in the first part about some of the lockdown stuff. Number 5. I'm trying to think of what number 5, my prediction, but I think that that's a good one. I had like the first 3 in my head before I did this video, and I didn't write it down, but I'm trying to think of what I think would be the number 5. And number 5, I think number 5 would be I think 4 is enough, but I'm trying to think of number 5. I think there will be like basically a cure before December, like something that does, like, there's been so much. I don't think there's only going to be vaccine. I think there'll probably will be vaccines, but it'll be a cure that will downgrade it to common cold level. Look at the phenylfibrate thing is very promising. So I think by then we're just rushing through this, of course, but they're scrambling to make big pharma money. No, I don't know. Maybe that's true. I think it'll be cures that will be very effective, and it'll be death rate. Like I said, 50 to 250 people in October a day will die from this. That's my prediction. Maybe 300 at the most. Maybe some of the spike days, 300, 330, whatever. And then after that, it'll be, but with the cures that'll be released, next 3 months, whatever, I think it'll be pretty much common cold level after a while. And that's another side prediction, is I think the virus will mutate into lesser form eventually. It might be endemic, but it'll be lesser form because that's just how viruses operate. So I think that was pretty much my 5 predictions. I think that would be, it's very optimistic. I think by March of next year we'll be out in the clear, and by summer of next year we'll be going to shows and fucking normally and doing drugs in the bathroom with strangers and doing all the stuff we did before. Not that I did that. I'm just saying, be doing more normal stuff. And that's all I have to say.